Hello, everyone. Hope you're well. Let me first send a chat. All right, and hopefully everybody's audio and video is good. So let me get you promoted here. Hey, Augustin, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Hey, Dennis. Kai, good to see you. Kai, you're gonna like this one. This was a great campaign. We're gonna go over tonight. Elizabeth, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Heather, good to see you. Great call earlier. Let's see.
Hey, Gary, I'm not sure if Augustin is on, but there's Eddie. I still having to use his logins for some reason.
Oh, okay. Oh, yours isn't working?
I can't find the email. I found every other email but that one.
Oh, yeah. If you ever get stuck on something like that, just you can email or call either Jody or Beverly, or as long as I know in advance, about an hour before the class. It's hard for me to do anything on emails or text or phone calls because I'm trying to eat and prepare for class and all that at the same time. So. Hey, Laura, good to see you. Good call today. Lisa, good to see you. Hope you had a great weekend. Let's see. Liz, good to see you. Representing the great state of Virginia. Randy, good to see you, buddy. Representing Florida. So, Sam, good to see you. Good call today, Sam. Hey, Sam, did you find the file or did you find the email in your spam folder? If you could let me know that, that'd be great. Shirley, good to see you. Tom Z, good to see you, buddy. Hey, Tom, I'll be heading down to Grammy's house Friday, just for the weekend. But always good to catch up with you, whenever. Oh, we got a Zoom. We have a family Zoom call Sunday night. That's right. So I'll see you then. Let's see. Kathy, good to see you. The latest member of the team, newest member of the team. Let me go back up, see if I missed anybody here, because it's alphabetical. Aha! Christine, thanks for joining us. I appreciate that. Representing California. So let's see, allow to talk. Dennis, I think you already promoted. Elizabeth, I'll allow you to talk. Jasmine, good to see you, Jasmine. Allow you to talk to, we could get Liz. Susan, good to see you. There are a couple of Virginians so far. Out to talk. Okay, I think I'm caught up. 19 to 3 is 22. All right, there'll be others logging in. I'll just catch them up when they come on in. Hey guys, tonight we're going to go over the booklet marketing campaign, and I think Gina's going to join us too. She was telling me about another marketing angle or a script that you can use to attract people. To entice them to call you, that works very, very well. Well, I imagine it works very, very well. So when Gina comes on, we'll have her go over that. Let's see, Sam got the file. Thanks, Sam, for letting me know that. By the way, thanks for letting me know about the link. Hey guys, in Workplace, Jody had put out a reminder about Thursday night, and the link that was in there, unfortunately, the last character was wrong. It shouldn't be an N parentheses. It should be I think a digit 4. So I went and Workplace, I tried to go into edit mode and it sat there and spinning for an hour. So I finally gave up. So all I did was I just made a comment and put the correct link in the comment. But most of you already have the link for Thursday night anyways. So, hey, G. So Gina, I'll promote you here. Brianna, good to see you. Annetta, good to see you. And where did Gina go? Let's see. There we go. Gina. Anita, good to see you. More Californians. And Lou, good to see you, buddy. All right. So Lou, you and I have a call. I think I saw you schedule that for tomorrow morning. Hot dog. That's good timing. And Lou, by the way, we've got a presentation we're doing Thursday night. We do it every 4 months where we actually present the team, and that's all we focus on. Like tonight's a regular class. Really don't talk much about the team systems and all that, although they do come up in the classes. But Thursday night, keep an eye out for that. If you haven't seen that link, email Lou, just shoot me an email. Say, Gary, please send link for Thursday night, and you'll learn everything you want to possibly know about the team. Okay. Let's see. So Lou, get you promoted. Nancy, good to see you. Another California. And Jess Chambers, good to see you, buddy. I'm guessing you're a guest, so we're glad to have you on board. Tonight's marketing campaign, anybody can do it. You don't have to be on the team to do this campaign. You can be in any company, anywhere, and this will work, the booklet campaign. So let's see, I think I've got everybody now caught up for 31, and I got 31 on my count there. So let's see. So Gina, before I get into the booklet, do you want to mention the technique you and I were discussing earlier about taking a snapshot of a Zillow property?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Love to. And then I have a favor for you actually too, Garrett.
Okay.
Okay, so the Zillow thing. So what we've got is they're taking their farm and then they're going on Zillow and they're highlighting their address on Zillow and getting the Zestimate. They're printing that off on an 8.5 by 11, just black and white, printing it off, highlighting the Zestimate so that it pops out. And then they're sending that. They're actually mailing that to the client with a note that says something like, hang on, let me get this. I have it written down. Give me a call today and I'll tell you why this is wrong. And out of 20 mailings, he got 8 responses. So I really, really liked that. I thought that was very clever. Everybody gets Zillow and they get the whole concept of, Zestimates and all that kind of stuff. So just a black and white printout, highlighted, popped in the mail, give me a call today and I'll tell you why this is wrong.
That's a 40% response rate.
It's huge. It's huge.
That's giant. I don't think I've ever done that. So that's why I wanted Gina to give you guys that before we got started on the booklet tonight.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's one of them. I got a couple more. Gary, when we're done, can you bring up the heat map? Because that popped up in some coaching calls today. If you could bring up the heat map and where that is and just spend like a minute showing us about that too, that'd be awesome.
The heat map, you mean the one that's where the money's money migration?
Yeah, sorry. It's where money moves. That one, I think it is.
Want me to go ahead and bring it up now?
Sure.
Yeah,
While you're bringing that up, I'll chat for another second on another technique that we're seeing work.
Okay.
So I've got some clients out in the Bay Area, and I'm specifically really watching that one underneath the microscope because last time at the last downturn, the Bay Area turned last and it came out of it first. And so because of that, I've really been watching that area like a hawk. So I got a client out there and he's like, yeah, we're not seeing multiple offers anymore. And I'm like, what do your numbers say? And he's like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, pull your numbers. So I had him go to the MLS. Do not do this through a comparables program that they have. There's a billion of them out there. Don't do that. Just go straight to the MLS. Out of the MLS, I said, pull everything in that neighborhood. Don't filter anything as far as bathroom, bedroom, square footage, no filters, just pull the neighborhood. And I want you to pull a single line report that's within the last 30 days, every single thing that's sold. What I'm looking for is whatever report you have that has single line, and then down on the bottom, it has the totals and the averages. Specifically, what I'm looking for is I want to see the price. I want to see days on market or cumulative days on market, either one, so DOM or CDOM. And then I want to see list price to sales price ratio. So he pulled that and I'm like, okay, cool, print it. And then pull it again, but change just the dates to 31 through 60, run the report again, and then change the dates again to 61 to 90. So when you're done, you've got 3 separate reports. So he did that and I'm like, okay, so tell me the numbers. So he had pulled condos and he came up with, in a 30-day window for the condos, the price was $450 for the current 30 days, 18 days on market, and the list price to sales price ratio was 103%. The second report, the 60-day one, showed a list price of $455, rough numbers on the prices, by the way, but 14 days on market and 107 list price to sales price. The third one, the 90 days, showed 470, 9 days on market, and 107 list price to sales price. So once he pulled that out, I'm like, cool. Now, what is the story with that? What do your numbers show you? And he's like, it shows me that the list price to sales price ratio is coming down and we're trending down in that area. I'm like, bingo. So the story with that is this. Mr. Sellers, as you're making your phone calls around your farm, we're seeing the market starting to weaken in your area. If you've ever thought about selling, I'd love to sit down with you for about 15 minutes so I can show you what we're seeing in your area. So that's the story for the sellers in that area. For buyers that are interested in looking in that area, I'm like, don't say the market's softening. Say, we're seeing buyers who are looking in this area get their first offers accepted. And that's your message on the buy side. So it gives you, when you pull trends like that, when you pull a 30, a 60, and a 90 day in any particular area, it gives you the story that you get to talk about now. So the story is either going to show it's weakening or it's not weakening. One caveat, when you're looking at days on market, if it's 14 or below, it's an artificial number. And what I mean by that is that if it's 14 days or below, what more than likely happened is you got your offer in your first day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever, but you held it open for 2 weekends anyway, so that you can make sure you got the best offers humanly possible. If you see anything over 14, it's a legit number. So 14 and below, the market's just hot. I mean, it's just hot. It doesn't matter if it's 9, 14, 13, 12, it's just hot. But anything over 14 is actually a legit number. That's a bunch of information. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So that's what I got. All right, there's my 2 tidbits. This is what I wanted to see though. And where'd you find it too?
So I got this from one of my former students in New Mexico. He turned me on to this. So it's howmoneywalks.com. And on the map here, the red states, this is not politics, this is money. The red states are indicating states where money's leaving the state. So it's actually tracking money migration, not necessarily people migration, although the two are often in tandem with each other. So indicates you can see money's clearly leaving Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, and that's part of Michigan, and California. And the green states are where the money's going to. And as you can see, there's a giant concentration in the Southeast: Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee. Did you guys know that Tennessee right now is one of the fastest growing states percentage-wise in population than any other state? It's
Can
amazing.
you pull that one up so you can see where they're coming from? Because they're specifically talking to our Tennessee girls about this.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yep.
Yes.
So if you notice, generally speaking, wherever there's a big city, people have started moving out of the big cities. That's Memphis and Nashville in the state of Tennessee. And they're going to the outlying outskirts. You know, these other areas, these are like, I mean, beautiful country, but there's not much in these other counties. These counties are low population, low traffic, low everything. But look at where it's going to: Knoxville, Oneida, Johnson City. These are all places where my mother's family is from, going back to several generations. Okay. Over here, this is like Cumberland County. That's you know, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, you know, where the Dollywood is and all that. Here's what's amazing about this. Probably 10, 15 years ago, you could get a house here for $135,000. Guess what houses are going for now out there? Just type in or unmute yourself, call out what you think it is. Let's take a wild guess.
When was it going for what?
It's up to over $450,000 now.
Sorry, what was it going for and when?
Oh, way back when it was like 135,000, you know, generation ago, 20 years ago. Now it's approaching 450 and beyond. It's just crazy. And these are towns, anybody that's my age remembers, you know, whenever you heard about Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge was either in a movie or a hee haw, you know? So in any case,
My property,
what's that?
I said my property went up 300,000 in Gatlinburg in the
Man.
last year and a half.
Yep. So Jack, good to see you, Jasmine, by the way. So Jasmine, do you remember what you paid for it, if you don't mind sharing?
I paid $290 right now. I can sell it at close to $575.
Wow. Yep. Well, if I click on Cumberland County, let's just see where the money's coming from. Look at that. Wayne County, Michigan, Oakland County, Michigan, Miami-Dade, Florida, Cook County, Illinois, that's, Chicago, and Davidson County, Tennessee. That might be Shelby, Fayette, Davidson, that's Nashville. Yep. Isn't that amazing? So I'm guessing, Jasmine, you're probably smiling right about now, right?
Yep. Yes, I am, but I'm going to keep it for a while. So
There you go.
The reason why I thought that this would be really cool, because I thought that you guys could go in, grab some information off of this and get it out to your farms, databases, spheres, et cetera, of, look what's going on right here. Like, again, it just separates you from everybody else out there.
Yep. Well, not only that, if you're working in Cumberland County, Tennessee, and you want to do some Facebook targeted marketing, you can do Facebook ads targeted for Oakland County, Michigan, Wayne County, Michigan, these 5 counties here. You can precisely, specifically target your money, your marketing dollars to those counties, talking about Cumberland County, Tennessee. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So you're only spending your money where it makes the most sense. So in any case, thanks, Gina, for the tips and for bringing this up, and especially the marketing tip. We definitely appreciate that. Hey guys, any questions, anyone? Let me check the question box here. Let's see. Gina, Jasmine, Brianna, Michelle, and I think there are more. Who is in Tennessee and where? Oh, there you go. So that's Christine Simonson. So Christine Simonson, that's if you want to type in, Christine, if you want to type in your name and number in the chat box, then Jasmine, Brianna, and Michelle will see that. Or if Jasmine, Brianna, and Michelle, you want to type yours in, then Christine Simonson will see it. Okay, so let's see. I think that's it. All right, you guys ready to talk about the booklet? Okay, first off, let me go back to the resource area. But if anybody has at least started the booklet, I mean, like you just downloaded it or you watched the video, you're looked at the checklist, please raise your hand or just type in the chat box, I've started. And I want to get a good idea of how many people have actually started looking at it, because we've had a lot of folks start it, but then get stuck on questions and what to do next kind of thing. So a couple of weeks back, I thought it'd be a good idea for us to go over the booklet. So let's click on the marketing campaigns in our member resource area. The marketing campaigns, guys, are in alphabetical order. They're not in the order that you should do them in. They're alphabetical order. But if you click on this little blue button here, it says download first, then you will actually get what's called the marketing sequence document. It really tells you which marketing you should be doing at 4 levels of production. And, let me just bring it up and I'll show you. So remember, this is something anybody can do. It's considered a level 1 activity. Well, what that means is anybody can do it. Just because it's level 1 doesn't mean a level 5 person should not be doing a booklet. It's a sequence. So level 1 is you're doing 12 or fewer transactions a year, right? And if you notice, number 1, all-time number 1 is your database. All other marketing campaigns are designed to build your database, to attract people to you. And then you have to serve your database. So for real estate brokers, there's really 2 things. Number 1, build your database. Number 2, serve your database. That's the 2 sentences that describe real estate brokerage at the highest level. So building your database should always be an ongoing activity. In fact, Heather Price and I were discussing this today, and I will admit I'm guilty of not maintaining my database well. In other words, I don't clean it too well. Now, thankfully, years later, I have Beverly and Jody and Judy, and And Beverly is a stickler for having a clean database. Our database is clean as it's ever been. We've gone from, at one time, 70,000 records in our database, 70,000, you know, and we marketed it to them, believe it or not. And now we got it down to, I think in total under 14,000, maybe even 9,000, maybe 9,000. But the point is just like anything, just like a home, you know, you want to build a nice home and you need to maintain the home and keep it clean, right? Otherwise, clutter will just start piling up everywhere. Same thing with your database. You want to clean it on a regular basis. But the main thing here is for me to emphasize is it is your number one activity. It's your gold. Your database, your spheres in there, it's your absolute gold. And I could spend a whole day talking about that. We're going to talk about the booklet. So booklet is one of the first things everybody should do in this business, in my opinion, especially if you work with investors. But what I was mentioning earlier is this is a level 1 activity, right? But people producing a level 2, right? Up to 50 transactions a year. Actually, that number has changed, by the way. You should still be maintaining a booklet. It's not like you stop what you're doing at level 1, then you only do level 2 activity. And then when you're done that, you only do level 3 activity. It's actually you're building. This is really important. I'm going to stop share for just, no, I'll just say it because you'll get it when I say it. Real estate marketing, any marketing, guys, it's a momentum building business. And what that means is when you start it, you have to continue it. You don't want to start and stop and start and stop. For those of you who've done that, you know what the consequences are, right? You end up you're porpoising and you get all kinds of mixed results. You don't know what's working. You don't know what's not working. So when you begin a campaign, especially something like the booklet, this is something you want to do ongoing on a regular basis, all right? And later on, yeah, you'll do podcasts and blogs if you get to level 3 and level 4, but you're still doing a booklet. The booklet is probably one of the most diverse, flexible marketing campaigns I've ever seen. It does so many things for you. It's a branding tool, and it's also a lead generating tool, okay? So, and it says right here, I almost always suggest doing the booklet first because it requires you to learn about the inventory in your area, okay? It also requires you to learn some of the training material and some of the tools, okay? I love the booklet for multiple, God bless you, Lisa. God bless you again. She's a silent sneezer. So in any case, just remember this marketing sequence document. You want to download that and keep it on your hard drive or print it off. So back to this, let's click on the booklet campaign and we're going to dive in, do a deep dive on this. And if you have questions, let's make this interactive, guys. Make sure, don't be afraid to chime in and add a question or ask a question, excuse me. Okay, on every campaign you click on, you always
Gary,
get yes.
Rob wants to be promoted.
Oh, okay, hang on one second. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Here's Rob. Hey, Rob, good to see you, buddy. And I think I promoted everybody else. Oh, Grace, how are you? Good to see you, Grace. I think I promoted Dennis, Elizabeth, Grace, Jeff, Liz, and Michael. Okay, thank you very much. So every campaign has a brief description of what the campaign is, right? What the purpose is. It has a video that you watch, usually about an hour long, on instruction, how you actually create the booklet, how do you use the booklet in your marketing, how do you send it out, what are the different varieties of the booklet you can make. There's also a written version of that recording. So we've had them all transcribed and edited, so they're cleaned up and put in a more readable fashion. So that's the text version of the video, right? So that way, no matter what your learning style is, you can do both or one or the other. This is the actual booklet itself. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and bring that up. These are all clickable. And this is a Word document. Okay, I'll save that for a second. Each campaign also has a checklist. So I'll go ahead and click on that and get that down there. So I'll bring that up in a second. Okay, and what's really nice is each campaign has these 3 nurturing campaigns. So the marketing campaign elicits a response. Okay, then you speak to the consumer they're going to respond to you and say, hey, thanks for sending that booklet. I've always wanted to flip a home, whatever the case is. Okay. They might be really excited, but they might not be ready now. Remember, when you interview and screen a prospect to become a client, you need to determine, right, timing, motivation, readiness, willingness, ability. Timing, motivation, readiness, willingness, ability. Okay. When you do that, one of the things you're checking out is their financial resources. You want to ask them, what do you have in savings? And say it like that, but don't ever say, hey, how much money do you have? Ask them, what do you have in savings? Now, this is after you've established rapport, of course. Then you want to ask them if they know what their credit score is. So you don't ask them, what is your credit score? Ask them, say, do you know what your credit score is? Because if they say no, you can say, guess what? I can show you how to get that for free, right? And there's all kinds of things, creditkarma.com. I mean, there's a bunch of them. You can get your 3 credit reports for free, at least once a year. And then if you open up a new credit card anymore, typically like Discover or Visa, depending on your provider, they'll also give you a free credit report, okay? On demand, anytime you want, with your score. They'll give you a score too. In any case, long story short, back to this. You also want to ask them if they have an available line of credit. And just those exact words, available line of credit. And the reason I ask that is, number one, if they have a line of credit, that means some bank somewhere thought enough of them to give them a line of credit, right? And if it's available, that means they haven't drawn on it completely. There's some available credit in that line of credit. So now I know 3 things. I know if they have any savings, if they have their credit score, what it is, they have to have a line of credit. Now, why are those 3 things really important to us realtors?
Pre-qualifying them to be able to do something.
That's it. We know what kind of ammunition they have, right? When we know what kind of ammunition somebody has, then we know what we can go hunt for. We know what our target is. Can they buy a duplex? Can they buy a fourplex? Can they just flip a home? It tells us, because consumers will come to you and say, I just want to make money. Like you ask them, what do you want? They'll say, I just want to make money. Just find me a deal. Anybody ever get that? Just find me a deal. Well, I'm glad to go find a deal, but I want to know who I'm dealing with first. I want to know what they're able to do. Do they have the ammunition to take down that target? Okay. So in any case, when you have those conversations, some of them are not going to be ready now. And what you do is you call on these nurturing sequences. There's one for wholesaling, one for buying rentals, and one for flipping property. So if your candidate, if your prospect is leaning towards flipping, then you would put them on the flipping nurturing campaign. Okay. And I want to show you this in a bit. What I want to do is go back to the booklet though, because that's really the crux of it. So let's go back to the booklet. If I can get all these things out of here, booklet template. There we go. Oops, I just downloaded it a second time. Okay, it's loading now. So this is the old original template. And I can show you a lot of other examples, a lot of them from you, some of the students and the agents on the team. But when I look at this now, I know why I failed art class, okay? I actually didn't fail it, I just didn't do too well. I was never good with crayons, never good with paint, never good with anything that required me to take what was in my head and make it look pretty on paper. There's other people that are way better at that than me. And many of them are you right here on this webinar. But the point is, this is in Word format, so you can copy it. So the first thing you do is download the booklet into your database and on your hard drive, excuse me. And then right away, you're going to notice there's a picture of the Pittsburgh skyline. And it actually has the statement where the smart money is. Then you show them a picture of where you are. Then you answer, investing right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, or wherever you are, Dayton, Ohio. In any case, right away, you've got to change the photo, and you've also got to change the location. Everybody with me so far? Okay. There's going to be more details coming up that are a little more, take a little more discussion. And here, that was my old brokerage company. So you would change this to say whatever your brand is, Susan Murray, Lynchburg Investments, something like that. You put that in. You want to promote and brand yourself, okay? And then down here, you put your name and your email and your phone number. Now, what you should do now, this wasn't the case when I did this, 15 or some odd years ago, is you can now put in there, Lisa Sears, global investor agent, and then your email and then your phone number. And what we notice is when you put in global investor agent, you're not saying I'm on the GIA team, you're just saying global investor agent. What might that trigger inside someone's mind when they read global investor agent? What might they be thinking or asking?
What's a global investor agent?
You got it. Yep. So that's what you want to do. The whole thing about this. So Rob, what's the main point of sending out this booklet? What do we want to achieve?
We want to start a conversation. We want to create questions or interest.
Yep. So throughout this thing, you should be painting a picture and unraveling a story. So at the end, it's like they have no choice. Well, I got to call this guy, So in any case, thank you, Rob. The introductory.
Wait, Gary.
Yes.
I'm already stuck on that page. How do you change the picture?
Oh, you just simply, let me go into edit mode on this.
Actually, more importantly, I know how to get rid of it. How do you insert a new one?
Oh, if you go up into, first you want to make sure your cursor's in this area. But if you go up into insert, and we're assuming you have Word, not now, on the Apple, here it is, then you click on picture right there. And then you can grab a picture from your hard drive.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Yep. Remember, guys, I am far from an expert at Word or any of these things. I just know it just enough to be dangerous. So there's people that are way better at the editing stuff than I am. But so moving on here, the second page is an introductory letter. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, this is way too long by today's standards. First time I did this, 3 paragraphs was fine. But I would say by today's standards, boy, if you have more than 2 paragraphs, it's too long for an intro letter. In fact, it maybe should even be 1 paragraph. So has anybody edited the intro letter to be cut down to say 1 or 2 paragraphs?
Yes.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. And the way you go about this is anything in here that doesn't reflect you, just cut it out. Just delete it right out of there. And then you're only left with a true template. Then you can start to put things in about your area. Now, if you want to talk about yourself, keep it short and keep it simple. And you may want to refer to, here's what you might say, on the global investor agent team, we're not only agents and brokers, we're investors ourselves, something like that. That's sort of what this tells people. But don't make it about you. In fact, I would tell you, you don't need to put in your credentials, your designations, any of those things at all. Most consumers have no idea what those things mean anyway, And the thing should not be about you. It should be about the person reading it. So one thing I will tell you is something, please write this down. If you look here, is a good example. In the beginning of the 3rd paragraph, I used the word you. So you want to use the word you or your. Here's another one, you up here. You want to use you or your as much as you can. It just has a subconscious effect. It just gets inside of people and they feel like you sent this only to them, specifically to them, and worded it directly for them. That's what it feels like. And I always wondered about that because I wondered why when I went from dear neighbor, dear friend, dear whatever, and to all my wonderful clients, blah, 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 blah. When I cut that crap out and started speaking like I was speaking directly to somebody, like I'm writing a letter to one specific person, my response rates went up dramatically. Years later, after I accidentally discovered that, I was in a mastermind group up in Toronto. I was in that for a year. A guy named Dan Sullivan is he's going to live to be 150. And he's coached some of the top people on the planet. And one day, just out of the blue, somebody was asking about something about marketing. He brought it up and he said, I want you to remember, you want to use the word you or your early and often, okay? And lo and behold, you guys remember the letter, my listing, when I want to try to get a listing appointment, I have a letter I use. It's in the marketing campaigns. I used the word you or your in 1 paragraph in less than 7 sentences. I used it 10 times, right? You can always wonder, why does that letter work better than the letters? And I didn't ask the question, but somebody else had some other question. The answer was very much related. The point is this, is narrow it down and make it about them. Make it about them, okay? And if you want to talk about anything else, talk about the area, and we're specifically in this example, investing in the area, okay? So there's, you know what I might do, guys? I've got about 10 or 20 different examples of these booklets for different purposes. I think what I might do is have Beverly see if there's a way she can load them up onto the Google Drive. Would that be, you guys like that?
Yes,
You see other people's versions. There's some for dentists, some for engineers, different versions out there. But just make sure you edit this thoroughly so it reflects you and has, you know, your phone number in there, of course, okay, and your name. All right. Now, table of contents you really don't need, but you can put it, if you want to keep it in there, keep it in there. Down here, actually, that was, let's see here, let me go back here. If you're like most other doctors and some of our other clients and are fed up with the stock market, so who was I targeting this booklet to? Doctors. Yeah. In fact, there was certain neurosurgeons in particular, because this is right after I messed my back up, and my doctor who fixed me up became a client of mine. So you never know when you get your client. You should always ask. You know, it's funny. He came to see me after surgery. You know, he came to see me several times, but I guess somehow or another he had seen me online or some news thing. I was on the news a couple of times. Different people would have me on the radio programs, things like that, and somehow or another, either somebody told him about me, who I was, or he heard me, or he came and sit and talked to me and about investing. And I hadn't done a lot of big commercial projects at that point. I'd done some of them, but I never got involved with like car washes and laundromats. Well, that's what he wanted. So I became an expert in car washes and laundromats, okay? And that whole thing led to all kinds of referrals. I mean, those guys are very tribal, and you make one happy, you're in the in crowd, let me tell you. We did some big projects with those guys, joint ventures and everything. Anyways, back here. Now, here's the first thing I give them of any real substance. It's an article I wrote for a local investor group. Hey, look at that. That's got to be 10 years old. I'm guilty. I'm one of those guys, the realtors, has a business card with a photo from the 1980s. Actually, I don't. But that shows you how old this thing is. Or that was from, wow, 1947. That's 11 years ago. That's when that was taken. So back here, the subject of this is, I'm done with the stock market. Should I buy a duplex instead? You think this might be an appropriate headline coming down here in the next several months or a year or so? Yeah. So, and now you can use this. The one thing I've learned is up here, you can take this sentence out. What you should do, this is following proper protocol when you use someone else's material, is at the bottom of the article, you can say down here, information provided by Gary Wilson. You know, thank you very much, and you put your name, but you can reference. It's called a referral, actually. No, wait a minute. It's called a citation. Sorry, it's called a citation. Technically, you're supposed to give a citation when you're using someone else's material. I personally don't care, but all this is now part of the training program, which has been copyright protected. So there's certain rules there that I have to follow too. I'm the person that gave them the material and sold it. So I get royalties from all this. So in any case, back in here, I'm not going to go through the whole article. What I want to show you is, I started off with, I want to give you a real world, or may I show you a real world example? Okay. So I gave him one of my own case studies. I gave him some brief terminology, what I mean by NOI, what I mean by cap rate, what I mean by cash on cash return, so forth and so on. Then I give him the before. This is when I first bought it. This is what the building, how it performed when I first bought it. Then I gave him the performance of the building when I sold it. Okay. And then I broke it down. All right. I just, let's discuss this for a moment and break it down piece by piece. So, and then the bottom line is this, I put everything in order. So if you notice, there's, whoops. let's go back. Oh, here I am, sorry. I put down 5,000, right? I actually bought this property from an attorney, by the way. It was an owner financing deal. I made about 3,000 a year positive cash flow. By today's standards, that wouldn't be a good deal, but this thing only cost 40-something thousand dollars. Any case, actually, sorry, it would be a good deal, but most people wouldn't go after that type of deal. They would go after something that cost $500,000, putting out a lot more money. But I guess I talked about the depreciation. The mortgage was paid down, right? And I'd also built up value. So the building went up in value and I paid the mortgage down. So I built more equity. And at the end of the day, if you look at what I was able to accomplish with the initial $5,000, I translated that into about 70,000 in income and capital gains. Okay. So if you really understand real estate and the power of leverage, you know, it's easy to understand why so many people migrate towards real estate at some point in their lives, including Wall Street people. Okay. One of the biggest deals I ever worked on was a tobacco commodities broker, and we actually created a closed-end mutual fund and raised funds to buy portfolios of properties in the fund. And I was the broker, so I got all those commissions. We managed most of them. I got all the management contracts, and the ones we ended up selling, I got those commissions too. It was an amazing opportunity, and it only happened because years before, I realized working with investors was a good thing to do. And I started working with dentists first, dentists and chiropractors. And I used this booklet, this is the exact booklet, guys, right? That I use with those guys, including the doctors. That's how it all got started. And one thing led to another. And it's just the way life is. You keep plugging away, swinging the bat enough times, you're going to get your home runs. And that was a home run. So in any case, at the end of the day, I follow up the same questions. So should I buy a duplex? And I talk about that. And I talk about, you know, what it really is like to invest in real estate. It's not very glamorous, but let's face it, we're not in it to look pretty. We're in it to make money. Okay. And in the end of the day here, I gave them a little more personal information, you know, about me being in the corporate world, right? And what real estate investing meant for me, being able to get out of the corporate world and build up a nice sizable portfolio. So in any case, whenever you can end something with something that's inspiring or encouraging, or just simply flat out enthusiastic, it will get responses. Enthusiasm is one of the best things you could ever learn to possess. In any case, that's the article. Yes.
So this is great. This is what you did, but for those of us who haven't sold any investment properties, anybody, what example? Because I looked at this entire thing. I printed out the book and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, I'm a little stuck. So
you can use this exact article just the way it's written. Remember, I mean, you can still leave this up here, Benetta.
The example that you use of what you've done.
Yeah, absolutely. Just take a carte blanche. If you don't have one of your own or one of a client's, I will tell you, if it was me, I would look for an example or case study from one of my clients. That's what I would do. But if you want to cut down on the time frame to build this, just use mine and just say, because you're going to have to, you want to do the citation, say this is my broker or team leader Gary Wilson that did this. Is one of my very first properties, by the way. And you can tell them that. And what it does is it still allows you to establish credibility, because now you're in with this group, Global Investor Team, that Gary Wilson's running, and he's went from this little thing here to a couple hundred units. Okay, and it helps when you edify somebody else, it allows you to gain credibility yourself. We do if you watch people up on stage. When Glenn Sanford brings somebody up on stage to interview, they actually do a handshake. It's not just for formality. There's something that happens there. What happens is when they see the leader handshaking the person coming on to be interviewed, it transfers power to that person being interviewed. And now the audience shifts to that person. Okay, so what we're doing here is you can use this and say, you know what? Would you like to have a call with Gary Wilson? He's happy to talk to investors. In fact, I'm not sure if Mo's on tonight, but Mo Dupe has done this a number of times. In fact, we were just talking to one of our folks last week. Okay. So in any case, use this example if you have no other. If you have already worked with an investor or two, ask them if they would be happy, if they would be willing to share an example with you. Then it would be from your area. See, this property is from an area that back 23 years ago was one of the lowest priced areas in the country. Okay. And your area might be more expensive or somewhere else in the price range. So it'd be good if you had your own example, but if not, just use this example here. Okay. I just want to, there's some people that jumped in. I want to promote. Hey, Michael, good to see you, buddy. Actually, we got a couple Michaels. Now that's 9 and 26 was 34. I think we're caught up. Okay. So back to this, let me scroll down. The next section is where things start to get really exciting. Okay. Let me get past this, for example. The main part of that story, I just want to show people with a real life example what happens when you invest in real estate. All right. The next thing you want to do is you want to give them samples of properties. So you want to delete all of these. These are old, ancient properties from I don't know how long ago. Okay. Delete all these. And then do what we said before, click the insert button, insert pictures. Okay. And you can take examples of properties from your current MLS to put in there. Now, this booklet, remember, this booklet was a bad example that worked very well. Just imagine if you had a really clean booklet, right? I had way too many properties there. There's one, I didn't even have them set up right. This one spread over 3 pages. That's how bad it was. Second one, third one, fourth one, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8, 9 properties. That is way too many. Right now, the most you should have in here is 6 properties. The most. You can actually get away with 3. So the range would be 3 to 6 properties in the booklet. Okay. Now every MLS I know has a different look and feel to it. There are 404 versions of 4 MLS systems in existence that I'm aware of. And a lot of them are similar, but some of them are very different. The thing you want to do is you want to grab and by the way, just be careful to not try to promote your own listings because people will feel, they'll sense it. They'll say, hey, the only things you put in are your own listings. What I did is I mixed it up. I believe I put some active and sold, and I would recommend you, because when you do that, the reason is you're showing them the market is moving. People are selling and people are buying. Does that make sense, guys? Like show them active and sold. You don't have to show them pending. Pending's just, in limbo land, but definitely a couple active and a couple sold. And while we're on this subject of properties, if you notice, these were all rentals. Okay. These were all rentals. When you're speaking with your prospects, you want to try to ascertain early on what their preferences are. Are they leaning towards flips or are they leaning towards rentals? And some will do both, but what we found over the years is this. If somebody's leaning towards flips, you want to load this property with examples of flips, okay? If they're leaning towards rentals, a load of full of properties that are rental properties, okay? Now I should probably explain this next thing to you. If you're looking to create a booklet loaded with flips, it's actually easy. You go into your MLS and do search for sold for say 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom colonials in your area for the last 12 months, something like that. And I definitely go back 12 months. And here's why. You want to capture as many examples as possible where a property's in there twice. It's sold twice in a year, right? Right away, that's probably a flip. But what you do is you sort your results. This is, remember, you're looking for flips, search for sold 12 months out for your area and the type of property that's most commonly sold. And when you get your list, you sort it by address. So what that happens is if a property's in there twice, it'll sort so that they're next to each other, right? The first one's probably when it sold the first time in the year, probably low dollars. And the second one's when it sold later in the year, probably high dollars. That's more of a confirmation that was likely a flip. And then what you do is you look at the remarks and the pictures of the second sold, the higher dollar sold, and look for indications. They're going to say, you know, new kitchen, new bathroom, new roof. Definitely that's a flip and remodel. So download both of those. Don't just save the link, because these links can go away, right? So save the actual example on your computer. You save the pictures, right? So you have that, you can use this over and over again to create your booklets. And then you put those in your booklet, the before and after, and show them, look, this is an example of flip in your area. The guy made $75,000, for example. Now, any case on rentals, you can go back as far as you want. You don't have to stay in the last 12 months for rentals. Rentals, you can go back 3 years if you need to find examples. It does help if you have some financial data, right? Any case, I don't think this was one of mine. Let me see who had this one. It's not telling me actually. Let's see. King George, he was one of my commercial agents. Any case, now the next thing is this. Oh, I'm sorry, real quick. Any questions on the section of example properties? Everybody okay with that? If you have questions, let me know. I'm going to check the chat box real quick here. Rob Lane, Daniel, you're in Houston. Michael Usery. Can anyone promote me, please? Start it and have an accountability partner. Tennessee folks, can we talk? Okay, I think these are all related to your groups. Okay, good. All right, the next thing you want to do is you want to give them an example of one of our tools, okay? The reason I like this one, and this is in your resource area, by the way, so in the member resources under the tools tab, let's just go there real quick, okay? So if you click on tools, these are your calculators, right? This one's basic cash flow. This is the one snapshot in time Excel spreadsheet. This one's the online calculator. This one here is the one that's in the example. Here, I'll download it, right? It's an opportunity quick analysis. And you get it in original text format. Or sorry, Excel spreadsheet format, excuse me. So let's bring that up so you can see the whole shebang. And when this was originally created, it was created to allow you to create different scenarios for a subject property, okay? So in other words, you would always get the pro forma presented from the current owner and their agent. They're saying this is what it could do. And then you get the actual data, right? Then you get these what if scenarios. Well, what if I raise the rent? What if I lower the down payment? Well, what's beautiful is these other columns, you've got a total of 6 columns, can be used to plug in different properties. You can compare different properties side by side also, right? So back to the Word document.
Can you change your headings on that?
Let me go back there, Rob. Let me see here.
Like where you got pro forma, actual, then what if, what if, what if, what if?
Yep. Let's see if it'll let us do that. Looks like you can, yep.
All right,
And
awesome.
What's that?
I said, awesome, you can put an address in there.
Absolutely. And by the way, if you ever see anything, guys, that you'd like to change and you can't change it, just let us know. We've got a brilliant admin, I'm sorry, virtual assistant in the Philippines named Tio. I've been with him for a long time. I think a total of 12 years. And the guy's almost able to do just about anything. That guy, he's just magic, you know. So we can have him do that kind of stuff if you want, you know. But back to the booklet.
Gary, what does pro forma mean exactly in this instance?
Yeah, pro forma it's someone's projection. Like this is what how this property should perform.
Okay.
Income expense data. So they're just basically saying, hey, this is what this thing could do. I just take it with a grain of salt, right? I know I'm comfortable enough with myself. I want to do my own projections. I know what properties do, how they perform and how I make them perform. Someone else's projections, maybe they're selling because they didn't know what they were doing. So I take those performers with a grain of salt. The actual data is actual data. So just a side note here, the class is a different subject tonight, but when you're gathering information from another realtor or from an owner, on a property that you're not selling, but you're buying or your client's buying, when you ask for actual data, you always want to make sure you get 3 years of their Schedule E tax returns, not the whole tax return, just Schedule E for that particular property. Or if they're using a C corporation, which they shouldn't do in that case, you can get the attachment for that. You also want to get the rent rolls for 3 years. We'll talk about that in a different class. Just remember, tax return Schedule E, rent roll, and you want to get their own bookkeeping, their own income expense data, because you want to see what they told the IRS. That's usually what's the true numbers. Then you or your client, then you create your own pro forma based on current market data. You figure out what's the best case scenario, highest and best use for that property. What kind of rent could it bring in if you remodel, things like that, you know?
On the expense and income, your question, would that be the trailing 12?
Yeah, Rob, I actually generally went 3 years. I went 3 years of income and expense, you know?
Right, the 3 years of tax data, but but that's not going to show since the last tax time. That's not going to happen.
Oh, on the actual, I'm sorry. Yeah, on this form here, you would use the most recent actual data. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that, Rob. I was so when you turn 29 and it gets late, you're I just kidding. So, in any case, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yes, for their bookkeeping. I mean, most people are not going to want to, just, hey, here it is. How do you ask for that politely?
Oh, well, I make it a condition of the agreement. And I've learned in the past, if they don't want to share it, I'm probably not going to buy the property, because I'm thinking, what are they hiding? Number one. But number two is, when you go to buy a multifamily building and you go to a lender, guess what that lender is going to ask for?
Bookkeeping.
Financials.
The exact same thing. Yep. They're going to want to see proof that that property performed the way they said, and they won't budge. I mean, I've had owners try to, play hardball, and I just learned, walk away. If they're not going to show their data, there's a reason for that, and I would walk away, and then they would maybe sometimes come around and share the data. But I do not recommend buying a property without doing that homework. I mean, that's like letting a heart surgeon do heart surgery on you without doing the prognosis.
Have you ever had a situation where they cooked the books, where they had 2 sets of books?
Well, I've seen situations where people were definitely fudging the numbers, and it usually had to do with they would not count their cash income. Some tenants would pay in cash, and they would not count the cash income. But that causes so many problems. Number one, it's going to be a problem when they go to sell it. Number two, it's going to be a problem if they want to go refinance it. So I always tell people, why on earth would you cheat? Because at the end of the day, you'll find out you're only cheating yourself,
Yeah,
and not only that, guys.
Cash, it looks like they haven't paid. It looks like they haven't paid the rent at all. So that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I just wouldn't, if they're cheating that way, I wouldn't. Chances are they're cheating on everything else too, like code requirements, did they get proper permits to add that other bedroom? All those things could be a problem down the road. And my philosophy is this, life's hard enough just trying to keep track of the straight stuff. Can you imagine trying to keep track of the crooked stuff too, and what's crooked and what's straight? And the old saying, I forget the poet, it's when one what a tangled web we weave when you set out to deceive, So
Shakespeare.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So
First one.
yeah. That's right. Bonetta's a teacher. So Bonetta, you'll definitely come across those people. And I know people that in their own minds, they're not doing anything wrong. They're just saying, you know what? I never wanted to have an actual lease because if somebody didn't pay me, I can just boot it right out. Well, that's not true. You got to follow the law. If you put somebody out illegally, you're going to pay for it, But
have certain requirements.
Yeah. So well, by the way, real estate, guys, is the only form of contract law that is required to be in writing to be supported in the courts. It doesn't mean you can't have a verbal agreement. What it means is that if there's any litigation, a judge can say, I can't hear this case because it's not in writing. There's nothing in writing. Real estate law is the only form of contract law that's required to be in writing to be supported in the courts. So at the end of the day, the way to get the best deal is to come in with the strongest hand and play your hand well and just be tough. Don't give in to the people that were taking shortcuts their whole life, because you're gonna end up inheriting their problems. But okay, so back to the chart here. You would take all those figures from the prior examples, right, up here, and plug them in these columns here. And I'm telling you, this one page alone here, this will definitely get attention. Okay. I mean, can you guys imagine if you had received this 10 years ago before you bought your first rental or did your first flip, when you got postcards from every other agent, which agent are you going to call? The agent with the postcards? The agent with the booklet with calculators and spreadsheets. By the way, I laugh at it because I used to do that stuff too. So if you just felt a little, if I struck a nerve, please forgive me. I didn't mean to do that, but just know every agent goes through that. So don't beat yourself up and don't worry. The key to success is moving forward, right? So in any case, that's the calculator.
May I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Do one of these that analysis for each rental showing, what the performer was and what the actual was? Because this looks like there's only one sheet at the bottom. Have you totaled all this, or do you do this for each?
No, what I would do is like what Rob was saying, and this is the way the calculator was originally designed. What I would do is I would change the column headings to say property 1, property 2, property 3. And in each column would be the data from that property alone.
Actual data.
Actual data. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Well, in this case, whatever's put in those listings, which leads me to one more thing. Whenever you do a listing, guys, even if you get the actual data, it's actual data, still always make the remark, this information is deemed reliable, but not guaranteed. Okay. Because you're getting it from another source, right? So, and by the way, in this booklet, keep in mind, the booklet is we're not marketing any particular property. What we're doing is we're eliciting a response. That's what we're doing. Okay. We're telling a story. We're showing other examples in the local area. Then we give one of our nice tools to show them how we know this information and how we do our calculations. And at that point, if they got any interest at all in investing, you're going to get the phone call. The next section, by the way, is we always give them something for free. These are links to free books, a free book on flipping, free book on buying rentals, free book on wholesaling. Okay. Now, because of the affiliate program, there's different links in there for the same material, and you want to use those links in your booklet. So you get, if they end up buying something later on, like a training program or something like that, you get credit for that. You get money for that. Actually, you get paid for that. So make sure if you're in the affiliate program, and you should be in there because it's just free, easy money. You put those links in here in place of these links. Does that make sense? If you use these links, it's not going to be the end of the world. They're still going to be your client, and we can figure things out, behind the scenes and figure out who brought in whom. But it'd be easier if you use your affiliate links. Okay, now this got the down here. The formatting got a little bit skewed. These are some testimonials, and I was very selective. This guy here is former Special Forces and currently works for Homeland Security. Okay, this guy's a pilot. Would you say collectively between those two guys, their testimonials would be deemed pretty reliable? Yeah. So, and I don't necessarily say in here like Pete tells everybody he's an airline pilot. Now in here, I can't remember if Victor tells him that he's special force multiplier. In any case, people have called these guys and looked them up because there's their actual names and everything. And they're real people. So put in real testimonials from real people. Rich Barani works with his uncle, and I can't remember what he did. I think he was a teacher. So I always use people that I know are from fields that are deemed highly reliable. and they use those testimonials. So make sure you put your own testimonials in there. And then finally, the call to action page. This is an old version, okay? So there's newer versions out there. I'll have Beverly share them that have a real call to action, something that's easy. And what I'm getting at is this: instead of just saying, please take the first step and call today. There's no obligation. Sincerely, Gary Wilson. Here's my name, my number, my email address. Nowadays, you can put in hyperlinks in there. You can say for a free list of rental properties in your area, or free search of rental properties in your area, click here, and you would give them the link for your landing page where you offer people free home evaluation. I'm sorry, of access to the MLS. Okay. If this was a regular consumer, I would also give them a link for a free home evaluation, right? Something easy to click on, take it, or even a QR code. Now you can do QR codes for free. I'd put QR codes in there if I was you, you know? And I think we have samples of booklets with some of those links and QR codes in there. Just remember, on this last page, you no longer have to just leave it up to them to call you. You can make it easier to take a picture with their phone, QR code, go to your landing page, do a free home evaluation, set themselves up for a search. Now you got yourself a prospect. Okay. Okay, let's do a quick pause. I got a few more things to go over with you, but I want to make sure everybody's okay. And before you answer, one quick thing here. You'll notice today's booklets are smaller than they were 10 years ago. Fewer pages, less words, more examples, more pictures. It's just like it generates higher response rates. Now, my personal opinion is this. We don't call it a newsletter. However, you could add another section in here, like a recent article. Do it every month and put in whatever was the best article that came out in the news in the last month related to real estate. And there's always something. I mean, we're all members of NAR. NAR's got all kinds of good articles. In fact, what Gina was talking about earlier about the market starting to shift, NAR just put out a report. Did you guys see it? I put it on the workplace page. Yep, probably over the weekend or sometime. They're noticing a softening in the market. Now, I see it because I get to talk to you guys every day from all over the country. So it's pretty evident to me, feet on the ground, when things are changing. But NAR has the actual data to back it up. But in case, you could put an article in there. So instead of creating a newsletter, you have a monthly booklet going out. Okay. I call my newsletter Monthly Profit Booster. Your booklet, you can name it. You can say Monthly Profit Booster. You just copy my name. Everything I'm doing, you know, with very rare exception, is designed for you to be able to use it without having to pay for it or violating any copyright rules. There's things, we'll tell you if there's something you can't, like for example, the training programs, you can't give that away. That would get us all in trouble. But the books, I retain the source material and I retain the right to give it away. So that's why I can give electronic versions of those books to you, and you can give them to your clients. All those calculators and spreadsheets and everything, you can actually edit those and put your name and your number on there in your email. You should brand everything that you send out with your information, okay? If they have my information, that means you forgot something. And now the good news is you're on a team, so I would give you the lead back, and it wouldn't cost you anything because you're on the team. But the best thing to do is just change it and make sure it reflects you. Now, let's talk about distribution. Obviously, when we first came up with this years ago, it was sent in the mail every month. And if I hadn't heard from somebody in 12 months, then I would stop them from the mailing. And guess what happened? Not all the time, but enough to be interesting. I would get phone calls saying, hey, why'd you stop sending that? I've been meaning to call you, I've just been busy. Because I'm thinking they have no interest. I stink, my stuff stinks, it's just whatever. But that's not always the case. People are just busy sometimes. In any case, we don't have to send in the mail anymore. You can do that. But now what we can do is save it to Google Drive, right? For free. Now you have a Google Drive link, an actual link to the document that you can send in emails, you can send in text messages, you can send on Facebook, You can send an Instagram, you can send on LinkedIn, okay? And I would do that on a regular monthly basis, okay? Everybody with me so far?
Yes.
And those last
I
four.
text them,
Text them, yeah,
I text the link right to them.
yeah. And you know what's also really beautiful about this thing? We've always got something going on. I mean, we're always teaching a class every Monday night. You could actually put in there, hey, just want to let you know, you can attend our Monday night live classes, Monday night live, 7 p.m. Eastern every single week. We have guest speakers. We go over investment strategies. We go over marketing techniques. Here's the link for that. And by the way, click on the booklet here. It's showcasing some recent flips in your area. Have you ever considered flipping a home or buying a rental? Okay, so that's your surrounding copy, either text or email, and then put the link in there, and you'll get yourself some responses. So the booklet can be used to announce, like this Thursday night is our GIA team launch. We're presenting the team to everybody who's interested in learning about the team. It's not a class. It's a straight up presentation. No holds barred. We don't pull any punches. We don't hide anything. We totally expose the whole team structure and the benefits and the features. So you can put that in there, saying if you're interested in seeing how we do what we do on our team, here's the link for this presentation Thursday night. There's so many things you can do with this booklet. Always ask them a question whenever you send something out, by the way. For example, let's say you're pretty new. You're new to the business. You're a new agent. You're new to the team, perhaps. You know what I would do? In an email to everybody I knew, and actually I did this years ago with a handwritten note to a whopping 25 people. This is what I would say. I would say, hey, hi, Gina. I just want to keep you up to date here. I've joined the Global Investor Agent Team. We're a team of agents that work with investors. We're certified. And as a result of this, I created this booklet. I want you to, if you wouldn't please look at this booklet and give me your 2 cents worth. I value your judgment. I'm really interested in your opinion because I want to market to others, smart people just like you. By the way, have you ever considered flipping a home or buying a rental? Okay. And ask them that question and let them answer it. Now, obviously, more of them are not going to answer you, but some of them more than normal will answer you and get back to you. And keep sending that out every month and change up your what we call your front end copy. All right, let me stop talking and let you guys bring up questions. So let me check the chat. Remember, use the chat box for questions if you could. Rob Lane, Catherine, sold data is historical data, and no one owns that listing. If you are using ACT data, you're only using it as an example. Yeah, so Kathy, I guess asked the question, are we allowed to use this? So Walter Scott, not Shakespeare. Thanks, Gina. That was a rent roll. Thanks for Gina, rent roll. What is a rent? Oh, rent roll reflects rental history over a period of, my opinion, might get it for 3 years. I didn't think we could use other people list. Yeah, so Kathy, once a property is sold, it's considered public information. And again, you're not actually promoting the property. You're using it as an example. And then the third important thing is you're not broadcasting it to the world. You're not sending it to cyberspace or 7,000 postcards. You have a pre-selected audience, so it's direct or targeted marketing to a pre-selected group of people, and it's being used. So that's how we can use it. That's how we can use the data. Excellent question too. All right, I think that gets us caught up there on the questions. Okay, guys, if you want to, I can hang on another 10 or 15 minutes if you'd like. So if you have questions, now would be a good time to ask them. We focus on the booklet first, and we can clear up any other details in the other subject if you'd like. Let me see who all we got here. Let's do a stop share. Oh, you know what I forgot to show you? The nurturing sequence. Let me show you one of the nurturing sequences. Go back to marketing. Booklet. Okay. Now these nurturing sequences are completely digital. They're all videos. So if I click on the nurturing sequence for flipping, let me bring that up. So remember, whenever you communicate with people, whether it's via email, text, Facebook, and people respond to you, you want to always set up a conversation and just say, look, let's just have a conversation just to see if this even makes sense for you. You know, flipping might not be the thing for you. You might not even be qualified right now, but let's find out. Like, let's have an exploration discovery call. Like today, we just had one of my old-time favorite contacts, a guy named Jim Martin. He's in the lending business and he lends in all 50 states. An absolute consummate pro. In fact, I'll introduce him to you guys because he loves what we're doing. Both our sons are in scouts. He's a scout dad, real good guy. And so I'm getting myself pre-approved because I'm looking at picking up some property here in the near future. So in any case, the lenders, the mortgage brokers are glad to pre-screen people for you. Okay, just say, look, if you're nervous about asking for their credentials, say, would you mind if you speak to my favorite mortgage broker? He's a genius at working with people, especially when it comes to investing. Let's just see what you would qualify for to begin with, so we know if it makes sense to even talk about it. Right. In any case, back to the nurturing sequence. These are all video links of landing pages we created to take YouTube videos we created on our YouTube channels and put them in a non-branded page. So let me just bring this one up and I'll show you. This one has, I think, a total of 15 videos, maybe 16. It says 15 there, but the first one is a 0. So it's actually 16 videos. Okay. So let's just plug it in. I'll show you what it looks like. See, it's a non-branded landing page. There's no YouTube stuff on the sides. There's nothing in here, and nobody sees my name. They don't see my phone number. All they see is this little piece up here that we have to do because of our contract. But here, all they get is a video, and they don't know who I am, but they know who you are because you gave them the video. And what's really cool about this is you talk about a nurturing sequence. In this video, it's about 3 minutes long. I'm going over how do you use the property inspection report when you're looking at a prospective flip. Well, we actually give them the download link for that form. Anybody like that?
Yes.
So not only do they get to see a video, they get the actual, it's like a gift. It's like a little stocking stuffer, and on that stocking stuffer, whose name and email and phone number should show up? Yours. So in any case, those are the nurturing sequences. All right. That's what I wanted to show you. They're already done for you, and hang in there because we're trying to see if we can load those up to KV Core for all the campaigns, all 20 campaigns, right? All 20 marketing campaigns and all those nurturing sequences loaded in the KV Core and hopefully duplicatable or clonable by you, so you don't have to create them. They're already done here, right? But you have to build your KV Core campaign using this information. What we're trying to do is get it so that's done for you, and it save you a ton of time. Okay, now I've already said twice I'm going to stop talking. This time I'm serious. I'm going to stop talking and let you guys ask questions.
There's also stuff in the chat box, Gary.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. Let's see. Christine Simonson, who should we mail to? Just our database. Yeah, Christine, initially, so Christine, I'll speak to you directly. If you're going to do this, I would do it to your whole database and do the one version where you say in your email, the email copy, ask them, hey, have you ever considered flipping a home or buying a rental? After you've asked them, they provide their feedback to you. Okay. That's what I would do. And then you'll find out in your database, you likely have some investors you might not have realized you had before. You can also put it on Facebook. Remember, as a link to just your people. Okay, this is Susan. I have a non-related question I would like to help with. Okay, shoot, Susan.
Okay, am I off of mute? Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep. Oh, now I can't hear you.
Okay,
Muted. There you
now,
go.
there we go.
Yeah.
I've been in Maine a couple of weeks and we're getting around to renting 3 little 1-bedroom apartments. We would kind of like to do the Section 8 homeless mainstream things they have up there to help people. But how do we make sure, how do we screen past what the Caribou Housing Authority does to make sure we have a good tenant?
Yeah, I used to do a lot of Section 8. So just for people who don't know, Section 8 doesn't actually refer to the property. Section 8 refers to the tenant. It's a section in the IRS, or excuse me, it's a HUD, Housing or Development Code, that provides subsidies for rentals for people who rent, and they are low income and they need help. There's all kinds of examples of that in the world. People who've been injured, people who've lost jobs, all kinds of things. So in any case, you want to treat them like any other tenant. Okay, even though they're receiving a subsidy, you still want to go through take the application, what has their name, their current address, their phone number, their email address, the prior address, their prior landlord, the current landlord. If you look in the training program, turning rental problems into real estate profits,
Okay.
there's a telephone screen script you should follow, and a written application you should follow also. And you want to run the application. You want to check their credit. It's 4 things: credit, where they've been living, their work, and public record, which is like criminal background. You want to do those 4 things, and there's a number of sites that do that for you. NTN is one of the most popular ones. But in any case, so Susan, you want to screen them. You want to do everything you would normally do with any other tenant, no exception. Okay, the only difference is some are part of the rent is going to come from the federal government. Okay, some Section 8 people have the entire rent paid. Some Section 8 people have a portion of the rent paid, and they pay the other portion. So the one thing you want to remember on Section 8, though, is they determine what the rental rate should be for the area based on the type of property. And if you're ever curious about what that is, look no further. I'll get back to that last question in a second. Go into resources, okay? And look under miscellaneous website links. And go to this one here, huduser.gov. Okay. So let's just do a quick demonstration here. Let's do 2021 data. Let's do 2020 data, sorry. And we're going to go down here. We're going to look for, click here for fiscal year 2020 fair market rents. That's what FMR stands for, fair market rents. I'm going to choose by states. We're going to choose Virginia. Okay. And then we're going to be able to go down and choose the county. So is Lynchburg in Lynchburg County?
No, it's a city of its own.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I knew that. You told me that before too. Lynchburg. There we go. Bingo. So next screen. And there you go. So 2020 and 2019 is both in here, and it gives you efficiency, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom. So if it was me, I see there's a giant gap, $233 between 3 and 4 bedrooms. And there's, oh boy, actually the biggest gap's between 2 and 3 bedrooms. Look at that. That's 180 and 106. That's 286 minus 1, $285 spread. So the what's in most demand tells me is 3 bedrooms right now. So you can rent any of them. You can rent 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms. I'm just saying, if you want to find out what they get the highest rents from, then rent out 3 bedroom units, and you'll get the highest rent per bedroom. So that's what you can reasonably expect from the federal government for subsidized tenants.
Gary, I think specifically, I'm more concerned about everybody in town that we talked to in the last 2 weeks say, oh, be careful you rent to, there's a lot of drugs, and that, people are skipping out on rent and skipping out on gas, propane gas
Yeah.
and things like that. How do you feel if somebody's going to be good?
You definitely want to do the background check. You want to interview them. You know what I used to do? I would, when I had my results of I do the background check, and we have Lori was her name, do all the phone calls. I would call and say, hey, I got all the information back. Are you ready? And they'd say, yes, great. I'd say, wonderful. Guess what? I'm only 10 minutes from your house. Can I please stop by right now? We'll go over this right now. I'll get this taken care of. And stop in. And you get to take a look around and see if there's 3 people there or 13 people there. Or if they have 1 dog or 5 dogs, or 1 cat or 5 cats, things like that. You know, there's no better way to check people out and go and actually see how they're living, you know?
Okay.
So, yeah, that's one of the biggest, and I wish I could tell you, you know, that's what I came up with on my own, purely by accident, because it really was 5 minutes from this house. And I said, would you mind if I just stop over now? I'm like 5 minutes away. And boy, did I learn a lesson. I'm so glad I did that. I learned I do that every single time, you know? Now, later on, I had a management company and I had them do the same thing. I didn't do it after a while, but my management company, I made sure they would go in and visit the person personally at their home where they currently are. Yeah.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. That's one of the best things you can do, Susan. The other thing too is one of the famous tricks that people would play on us is they would have a live-in partner that was not documented anywhere. They weren't on a lease. Section 8 didn't know about them. Nobody knew about them, right? But you want to make sure you know about them, because if something goes wrong and you don't have their name or social security number, it can be a real challenge, you know? So you want to make sure that without a doubt, if you go over, let's say they move in and a month later you go over there and the same person's there every time you're there, there's nowhere on the lease, you demand that they be put on the lease. So you're going to notify Section 8 24 hours that this person's there. Every time you go there, they're not on the lease. You don't know who they are. They don't have their social, and that's a violation of the lease.
Okay.
And Section 8 will put the heat on them, you know? Yeah, but I've had my first Section 8 tenants were some of my all-time favorite tenants, best in the world, absolute best. Yeah.
What is that?
I just got to know them. I did. I talked to them like 3 times before I let them in. They had 3 wonderful kids, and they were just great tenants. You know, they helped take care of the place. But I found out that Section 8 tenants are no different than anybody else. You can't say, like people that say, watch out for drugs and stuff like that. I'm telling you, my personal story is they were some of my best tenants, and sometimes they weren't, but it was no different than any other cross section of society. I had plenty of places I run into people that were Section 8, and I had no fewer or no less problems than I did with the Section 8 tenants. But because I treated them the same, and I did interview them, everybody the same way. I didn't do anything differently, you know? So, but the main thing is I definitely wanted to get to know them first, because boy, I got to tell you guys, off the subject for tonight, but this is really, really important. When you own rentals, you're in a human relations business, okay? And the most important decision you will make is who you let in your property, because you're giving them the right of possession. That's an important right. There's basically 5 rights of ownership, right? And the possession is one of them. And what's the old saying about possession? Possession is
90% of the law.
That's it. Yep. So love on them, treat them like regular folks because they are. And I would get Christmas cards, Kwanzaa cards, Hanukkah cards, all kinds of cards from people because I developed relationships with them, you know? And by the way, when things happen in the neighborhood, they're the first to tell you, hey, Mr. Wilson, you better be careful. Something's going on 2 doors down, who's somebody bad, who, whatever, you know? And also something else I did, whenever I bought a property, I went around and introduced myself to all the neighbors, gave them my own personal information. I said, if you see anything wrong, please call me right away, you know? So those things, when you're doing them on your own, will help you have a pretty clean, profitable operation. When you turn things over to property management, those things can slide a little bit. Property management companies, there's a lot of them, but there's only a few that are really good, you know? So we're going to change that. We're bringing somebody onto the team, guys, that I know him personally. I train him. I train people on his team, And he has property management now over 300 units, and they're going to be coming on board pretty soon here. So we're gonna have that on a national scale, and you guys are gonna be able to participate too.
Cool.
Yeah. So went way off the tangent there, but so right here, Susan, this should be pretty accurate because it's from HUD. You know, if you look at the website, huduser.gov, it doesn't get any better than that. But if you want to have a strategy call with your client, I don't mind at all. And share with him the 2 books here. Give them these 2 books. Hang on a second. Go back here. Go into books, Premier eBooks. And these are ones that where we had to do it this way because these are on Amazon. So of course there's an editor and a publisher and all this stuff involved. Download these, Susan, give him rental profits without the pain, and then give him turning rental problems into real estate profits.
Okay.
So these are free. These are electronic versions. Unfortunately, they're not on Kindle or Nook because if I do that, then I go into publishing rights and then people got to start paying for them. You can get them on Amazon, but I'll get like $1.13 or something, and they'll get the other $8.87. But I don't care. My thing is, I just wanted to have a way to give you guys information to give to your clients, and so they can see real life stories of what happens. You know, real examples. Yeah. Okay, let me go back. There was another question I saw. Let's see. This is Catherine. Okay, hey Catherine. I spoke to a man named Prasad Divakar in the world and wondered if it was appropriate to invite him to these calls. He said he is a part of XP Global in India and gave me his email to use. Probably the best thing to do, Kathy, is you can set him up on a strategy call with me. I'm sure he's fine. You know, I don't recognize the name. But you can invite him. The Monday night classes, we actually did open up this last year to the public. We have the right to do that. And so you can invite your investors and any other agent that you think has any interest at all in investing or working with investors. So this class use this as one of your biggest assets, not just to learn yourself, but to help people, help attract people to you. Okay, because if they become part of the community, you never know, they might join a team underneath you, you know, or they might buy a training program and you get a chunk of that money. Plus, the best part of all is you get an educated, informed consumer. There's no better consumer than a consumer that knows what they're doing. I always sweat bullets when I worked with an investor that didn't know anything, didn't want to learn anything. They just would say, well, you tell me what to do, Gary, and I'll take your word for it. That's a big danger red sign. Don't ever do that. You know, I always tell them, I'll show you the properties, I'll give you the tools, but you've got to do your own due diligence. I can't do that for you. I'll tell you, I'll do it as if I even gone as far as filling them out, but I say, you have to do your own decision making here. But they're out there, they'll ask you, they'll keep pushing you. Okay, I don't want to read all that crap. You figure it out and you tell me what to buy. That is not a good relationship. Good relationship is, hey Gary, thank you for taking me out and thank you for giving me all the information. I feel well equipped now to make a good decision. And by the way, you don't say this, but you do this. If you see that they're getting ready to make a mistake or they miss something, you absolutely speak up. You follow me on that, guys? You're not telling them what to do. You're just helping them fill in the gaps or have correct information where they might have incorrect information. So when you see somebody get ready to they don't have everything together, step in and tell them, hey, I think we're missing something here. Let's gather more information, you know? And do like Mo does. Mo gets me on a call at least once a month with somebody from her St. Louis, you know? I'm happy to do it. So, okay, guys, everybody getting tired? Okay. Well, I'm not gonna eat ice cream tonight. I'm gonna have Fig Newtons. Anybody remember Fig Newtons?
Yep.
I love those things. I feel
What
like
flavor, original or apple?
original. Yeah.
You remember the commercial?
No.
Vaguely, yeah.
Oh my gosh, there was a guy who did a tricky part. It's awesome. He went like this.
Well, the thing
Totally
is,
showing my age.
they taste good, but it makes me feel like I'm actually eating something somewhat healthy, you know? So,
I'm eating ice cream.
yeah. Actually, I found out sugarless ice cream is actually pretty good, and it doesn't mess with my stomach, you know? So, yeah. Okay, let's see. I think we got 2 more. Lou Carlson, see you tomorrow. Yeah, also, I do have a link for Thursday. Thanks, Lou. I'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Anita, you're very welcome. Okay, guys, I guess we'll call this one a wrap. I hope this really helped you. The next 3 weeks, we've actually got guest speakers. We've got somebody speaking next Monday on using whole life policies, using the cash values. And it's the 4th. That is, her name's Kim Butler, and I actually know Kim Butler personally. We're in the same mastermind group together. The one that was up in Toronto, by the way. And I actually interviewed her 2 years ago on a podcast, and we forgot about it. So we started talking to each other. The 11th is another guest, Cameron is his name, and he's got a lot of subjects to cover. That's the 4th, 11th, 18th. Chris Latham is coming on to talk about how to use LinkedIn. He's had success with LinkedIn. Chris was on our team, of course. On the 25th, Jean, hang on a second, let me get you Jean's correct spelling. That was Jean Kenskoff is going to show you how to use KV Core for outbound calling, either direct calling or robocalling. Okay, so you're going to get all that. That's in the month of October. So we're going to try to weave in more KV Core training as we go along here, because I think it's going to help a lot. Okay, listen, guys, if you haven't anything else, thank you so much for being on tonight, especially the guests. You're welcome to come anytime you want, Monday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, without fail, unless there's like Christmas or something like that, okay? In any case, I'll see the rest of you, all the global investor agents. I'll see you Thursday night. Oh, Christine Simonson, you should probably be on Thursday night because it'd be a good refresher for you for all the team benefits and features. I know you were asking about that. You feel like you need to review everything again. Come on Thursday night. If you don't have the link, text me and I'll link it to you. Actually, let me put the link in there now. Hang on 1 second. Let me go grab it.
While you're doing that, thanks so much, Gary.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. This was a good class, actually. We got I feel like we really covered the booklet.
This was great. Thank you. Yeah. That's a lot to cover at such a late hour.
You're very welcome.
You still got it, Gary.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Christine. You're butter in my, we call it the South Dakota, we'll say you're butter in my bread, you know? So, which is a good thing. Okay, let's go back to chat box. And everyone. Okay, so this is the Thursday night, 7 p.m. GIA, a launch link. So this is what you want to share with your friends and colleagues, okay? That looks unusually long. Let me click on that and make sure that works. Let's see here. Wow. Okay, so copy. Let me just plug it in, make sure it's going to work. Oh, it's too intuitive. Oh, that's it. There you go, guys. So that's the correct link. This is the registration page for Thursday night. So use that link, share it far and wide. Remember, the more people you share it with, other, in this case, mostly other agents who you think may have an interest in working with investors or investing, those would be the prime candidates for Thursday night. Would not be for just traditional investors because it's all about the team. It's the one thing we do every 4 months where there's no real content education. It's all about presenting the team because we have so much pent up, built up demand. And I figure it's better to do it in a group setting like that where I can focus solely on that and answer all the questions. And then we know who's going to be signing up. And then we kind of cool things off for the next couple of months until we do it again. So it's been working so far. We're done. We're yeah, Christine, you should see the numbers now. I don't know if last time we spoke about it, but I think we're the line is now closed like 400 transactions. The team, including pending and sold, is like 264, and most of it's just since like April when they made the basically EXP did a very kind thing for us in March. They named us and named me personally. We're now, instead of me reaching out to people are reaching out to us. And so the folks here on the call have brought in like 41 people that I did not bring in. It's mostly in those last couple of months. So what we're doing, the market's telling us it's working, and what we're developing marketing wise is going to help even further with the systems. We're creating a landing page where you bring somebody in. Honestly, you don't have to do it no more. You just type in their name and email and address and stuff like that, and that kicks off a whole sequence. And we've automated that process for you, so it's going to even easier. Okay, guys, I should probably
Awesome.
go because it's getting late. Well, you have a
Go
wonderful
Cowboys.
Go. What did you say? Go Cowboys. Okay, we'll go for that because the Steelers lost and the Redskins lost, so I'm going to just go for the Cowboys then. So
There you go.
all right, you guys have an awesome night. God bless you and your families, and I'll see you Thursday night.
Thanks, Gary.
Okay.
Thanks, Gary.
You're very welcome. Let's see. Okay, bye everybody.